Okay, we've already came a long way. Now we have a function that returns high, low, open, close data for any given ticker, and we have a function that returns the index constituents for S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100. Now we also need to know some context about these symbols. In particular, I am interested in the industry and the sector these things are in. So what's a sector and what's an industry? Well, you can look this up, but I think it's best to see these things in examples. First, I'm going to attempt to again wipe code a function that's going to return us the sector and industry for a given symbol. Let's ask our cursor agent, write me a function that would return the sector and industry classification for a given symbol. How big is our stock data utils? So we have save, high, low, open, close data, get index constituents. Okay, we need to delete this. I think we can put this in stock data utils as well. Put this function in stock data utils.py. Okay, let's see our magical AI agent at work. Okay, our function seems to be ready. Obviously, once again, the agent added more than the function we asked. I think there's a get sector industry batch function. We probably don't need this, but let's see. So first of all, let's do keep all. Later on we can delete it. Let's take a look at this function, get sector industry. Get the sector and industry classification for a given stock ticker. Parameters, stock symbol, dictionary containing sector industry keys, or none if not found. So how are we getting this? Okay, we are using Yahoo Finance ticker object, and we're getting the info field, and it seems like from this info field we can get sector and industry. And what is this function doing? Get sector industry batch for multiple tickers. Add small delay to avoid rate limiting. Well, we don't need this function at this point. I don't want this file to grow too big. So for now we're going to delete this function, but the other function, get sector industry, let's test this function now. See if it's really doing what it's supposed to do. Import stock data utils as SDU get sector industry. I think we're gonna have to restart our kernel. What was the signature? So we just need to feed the ticker here. Okay, let's feed AMD. See what we get. So now we can also understand what the sector and what does industry mean. Sector is technology for AMD and industry is semiconductors. So industry is just a more finer granularity information. To give you another example, let's say if I choose instead of AMD, let's print this also, print AMD, print another example, SDU, get sector industry, let's say Apple, okay. So you can see that for AMD, once again, we printed the sector technology. Also, I don't need this fetching sector and industry data printout statement. Let's remove that. Fetching sector industry data, that's not necessary. Let's restart our kernel so that we can grab the final version of the function. As you can see, for AMD, the sector is technology, industry is semiconductors. For Apple, sector is technology, but industry is consumer electronics. So this is the main difference between industry and sector. So what are we planning to do with this data? This is going to be helpful for us to understand if a particular stock we are interested in is in an industry or in a sector that's also doing well, because that's a more stronger indication for us than just an individual stock doing very well, has very good momentum, but the industry and the sector this stock is in is not doing very well. Usually these kind of trends tend not to continue. Because of this, we would like to know how is the industry and the sector for a particular stock is doing. Okay, so now we have this function, we can put it into use. What we would like to do is let's say today when I run my script, I want to be able to get all the index constituents for S&P and Nasdaq using our previous function, yet index constituents, and I'd like to save this information for this index constituents one by one. For example, for AMD, sectors technology, for industries semiconductors, in a JSON file. Well, I already described what I want to do. So now I can tell agent, see if it can accomplish this task as well for us. I would like you to write a script that will query, that will use get index constituents function to get S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 constituents. Before we get to that, I wanted to discuss with you one more thing, and that's going to be these S&P 500 and Nasdaq constituents. They have a big intersection in the sense that they are not, so S&P has 500 stocks and Nasdaq has 100, but combined it's not 600 unique stocks, it's much less than that. So it's best to, instead of going through this list, make this list unique so that we don't repeat ourselves with some of these calculations that we are going to do. So let's add a function. Let's cursor add a function for us. Add a function to or we can actually make it add if the index name here, for example, for this one, if the index name is, let's see if it will be able to do this. We wanted to say that if index name is all, you should have a combined version of this. Both S&P 500 and Nasdaq should be included. So add a branch to the if statement in get index constituents if index name is all, the function should return the union of S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 constituents. Now this is a bit tricky, so let's see if our agent can do this correctly. Yes, cursor is thinking hard for this one. It's made a lot of changes, and actually it's defined a helper function, scrape constituents, and it's using that helper function. If one index fails to load, it will return data from the other index, provides clear feedback. All existing functionality remains unchanged. Keep. Let's take a look at the size of these functions. Oh, we need to keep all. Okay. We have a scrape constituents, which is using response and parsing. Index types. So scrape constituents only accepts S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100. And then get index constituents can take 3 different versions: S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, and also all. We are taking a look at this function. We don't necessarily have to do this, but I'm more comfortable looking into it a little bit. If we are taking index name S&P 500, the URL is attached, this defined like here, and if it's all, we have separate URLs. Okay, and then here we are just using yeah, let's see if this function is actually going to work. Import once again SDU get index constituents. We're going to have to restart. Let's print it. I'm actually primarily interested in the length. Okay, as you can see, it's returning something reasonable. And then for Nasdaq, I think we need to enter Nasdaq 100. Yes, and then okay, that's around 100. Now let's take a look at all. Yes, as you can see, all is not 600, it's 516. Why is this? Because most of the constituents of Nasdaq is actually included in S&P 500. Okay, it sounds like our agent managed to do this task without a problem. Well, let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.